Hello everybody, this is Landy here.
And Roddy.
Today we're gonna talk about different living mode in Mexico.
I think one of the ways that people consider living there is part-time, right? And I think one of the ways that people maybe consider just part-time living, and it's barely living, is just vacationing there, which is a good way to kind of get introduced into Mexico. Maybe go for a few days or a couple of weeks, just to get a taste, right, of the culture, how things may be a little bit different. And now again, people are going to tend to stick to more touristy areas, and some people may say, well, that's not true Mexico, and to a degree they're right, but at least you're getting a little bit of assimilation and idea of what it's like. And you can try different spots over a short period of time, maybe 1 or 2 years, and kind of get an idea of where you do and don't like things like the climate, right?
Right.
Or you do like the beach things, and most people have never considered places like where we used to live in Querétaro or Mexico City, where the weather is much cooler throughout the year, and especially summertime, where it's much nicer in those kind of mountainous regions. So you can vacation there. What else can people do?
I think some people just keep traveling, like our new friends, Gina and Mark, they do.
Right. Again, if you don't know them, Gringos Are Us.
Gringos Are Us. Yeah,
How you guys doing?
Yeah, and their channel it's very fun. I love to watch their concept. They're true people.
Right, and their whole idea was coming to Mexico, and they have a plan to travel for 4 years in Mexico, right? But they're doing it, through. Well, I guess not an RV, but they're just traveling from place to place. They're kind of testing out different areas and how they like it. I think their plan is to stay in each area.
And in the worst season,
right? In the worst
season, that's the point. When they rent our place, I said, why they come to Querétaro stay for 2 months for the winter time? It's not the best time.
Right, but that's what they wanted to do, right?
Yeah.
Which was a good idea if you think about it, right? You want
awesome.
if you can stand the worst the place has to offer,
right,
then you can kind of figure, well, the best times are going to be better. Same thing for the beaches, right? Their idea is they want to go to Mérida in August, which again, if you've read or researched or heard other people, Mérida in August can be brutal. Again, we don't know that from personal experience, just from what we've seen and what we've heard.
It's like very hot, very humid, very hot.
So if they can survive that, they can survive anywhere, which is a good idea for anybody, right? If you can survive the worst of the area, you can definitely make it the rest of the year. I think something else that people do sometimes is, they are just part-time, whether they are digital nomads or even people like, I guess, they call them snowbirds, right? Maybe retired people who just come in for a few months, they pick an area they like, stay there while it's cold in the U.S. and Canada, right? Yeah. And then they go back, during the springs and summers back to the U.S. or Canada, which is, again, another way that you can explore an area and see if you like it.
Yeah, like there's a friend I know, she lives in Querétaro, but also part-time late, and just from the year I know her, she already go back to the U.S. a few times. Yeah, because she's digital nomad. She can work online for a U.S. company. Right.
That's right. And I think being a digital nomad is another way that people can, check out the area full time, especially if they allow you to work outside the U.S. If they can allow you to work anywhere, that makes it easier, right? You still have your income coming in. You can afford to live in different places, and you can try different locations for whether weeks or months at a time, right? Again, kind of like vacationing, but over a longer extended period of time. And so again, you really get to find out whether you like that area or not, and you can always come back in the future to a place you really like and maybe decide to settle in.
Yeah, and some people just keep traveling, like they really make a travel blog and then just traveling. But I think that's just good for people who doesn't have young kids. It's just much easier. They can move around to really explore the Mexico culture.
Right. And so whether you're a digital nomad or a remote worker, I guess it kind of falls into the same category. It's people who can have income coming in on a stable basis and get to explore different areas and see what they like.
Yeah, like for this moment, we call ourselves could be in the part-time living Mexico mode now, because we have a business running here in Texas. So we still want to go back. We still plan to go back for certain seasons.
Right.
So we're also part-time.
Right.
Again, so that's for people who has a business back in the U.S.
That they can leave and still run while they're gone, which again is important to know and be able to distinguish.
Yeah.
So again, just like we've talked about, we'll probably go back in the winters. We'll probably go. We got crazy people chasing ducks behind us.
Oh gosh.
We'll probably go to like the mountain areas in the summer, beaches during the winter, and explore the parts of Mexico during their best times. When we know we'll probably enjoy them more.
Right. And we can explore more places.
Right. You know, in the summertime, we still haven't been to Oaxaca and Puebla. We'll definitely check out those areas. You know,
Yeah.
we'll definitely go back to Mexico City, which we've done a couple of times. You know, we'll go back to Querétaro, somewhere that's always going to be near and dear to our hearts. And again, there's more beaches to explore, you know, during the winter time, right? January, February, those times are
Right.
supposed to be pretty nice in the beaches.
Yeah, like a Puerto Vallarta, people talk about, oh, come here in January, February, that's the best season to visit. So you don't want to go there in the hot summer.
Right. You know, and so I think, you know, with digital nomads and remote workers, that can also fall under the category of people who may want to live there permanently. You know, because while you have the ability to move back and forth if you're a digital nomad or a remote worker, if you do decide you like an area, you can always stay there, right? And by having that, you know, ability to make income that comes into you every month, you can choose to settle down to an area that you really, really like. And of course, then you can even continue to explore, kind of as we did. You know, you kind of have a home base, and you can go out and explore different areas, but you can always come back to what you now consider home.
Right. Because not everyone is totally ready to move on, sell everything back in the US, sell the house, cars, leave all the family members,
As
and
we found out.
totally move. Right.
So yeah, it definitely is a big move when you make that decision. So starting off kind of part-timely, and then possibly moving into a permanent role in Mexico is probably the best way to go, right? And from our experience, because that's something we experienced very personally. So definitely it's a way to move there permanently. What else? I guess people can also get a job in Mexico.
Yeah, for some people, they're looking for jobs, or maybe they do some business there, open a restaurant, bars, have some partnership, or they have a regular job,
Right.
become a realtor.
or just get hired by a company, right?
Right.
Depending on the company. We have met a few people like that. I remember we had the neighbors from Germany, right?
Oh yeah,
again,
but that's you're gonna see who hires them. You don't want to go to Mexico then looking for a local job. They don't pay you very well. You need to be an expat. You're
Right.
hired by your country company. They send you there.
You're gonna get better pay.
You get a better pay, and they pay your rents. You know, you pay your flights. It's all in the terms. So don't be silly. Just go there, look for a job. No, they don't pay you well. How much do they pay teacher? Like once you ask for that, like $7 an hour or $8.
something like that.
Yeah,
it's pretty low.
crazy low. Like for that, you just work online for some other companies.
Right.
Be international teacher online.
Right. You know, I think you're right. I think we've always seen people online. You know, you'll see people on Facebook. Oh, I'm moving here. I'm looking for a job. I mean, you'll make a living wage by Mexican standards, and if you're okay with that, then
Yeah, it's
sure.
okay. Yeah, for some people, it's all right.
Right.
I can rent a place for $250 a month.
Right. So if you're okay with that, then sure, yeah, that's an option as well. I mean, we're not going to say what's best for anybody out there. If you're comfortable with it, hey, go ahead, and you like the area, and you're really into the culture and the people, and you want to live there, it's definitely an option. Right?
Yeah.
Again, just for our opinion, we think it's better to earn U.S. dollars, Canadian dollars, euros.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Anything outside of Mexico, earn a
That's-
higher dollar and
That's
live.
the smartest way to do. You make a dollar, you live in Mexico. That's how it is.
Right.
You make dollar, you live in Thailand.
Right.
That's the same concept.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can work there, get a job there, work remotely. You know, I think these are just different ways that people need to consider
Right.
if they're thinking about moving to Mexico.
And also just for people who are already retired, that's the majority of people move to Mexico, mainly like Ajijic, San Miguel de Allende, Puerto Vallarta,
Beaches, right.
Cancun area. Yeah, that's your choice. But it's also a great way because you lower the cost of living. The
Right.
Social Security is not much.
You can stretch your dollar.
1,500, 2,000. Yeah, you live back in the U.S. Cost of living is higher. Medical bills higher. Tax getting raised up. I know
everything's getting
everything.
higher.
So you move to Mexico, have an easy, less headache, less stress life.
Right.
And the weather is beautiful there. You don't want to live in the white, stay very white over there.
Yeah, no,
Too cold.
you can definitely find what you're looking for in
Yeah.
Mexico, right? It offers all types of climates
That's great.
and cities of all sizes.
Right.
Again, sometimes people may not consider that. I know we've talked to a lot of viewers, or they've messaged us. Right, again, Mexico is not what we thought it was, you know, because people tend to think of Mexico as beaches. I mean, when they do consider they fail to consider interior Mexico or southern parts of Mexico where it's not as popular, especially maybe people who are just in the beginning process of looking into it. They think beaches, hot sun all the time, but there's so much more that it offers, so much more.
Right. But I also think for a lot of older people, if you don't speak Spanish or you don't have a partner who speaks Spanish, it's difficult. Especially you move to some a little bit not so popular beach towns, the language is the burden.
Right. So you may want to consider maybe moving to little expat hubs.
Yeah,
like
first.
Puerto Vallarta
Yeah,
or
it's
Lake
easier.
Ajijic, where you're going to tend to find people who you can speak and communicate to. And people are probably going to disagree. And when you go to Mexico, you should try to involve
Yeah.
yourself in the culture.
Sure.
If that's your thing, do it. But
Yeah.
that's not for everybody. And people who aren't in that group should be able to feel comfortable
Right.
to wherever they go. And if
True.
being around other expats, people who speak English, makes them comfortable, there's nothing wrong with that as well.
Yeah, of course, I know everyone try to learn. Once
Right.
you live there, you learn, but everyone is different.
Right.
Especially when your brain is getting older,
Right.
it takes longer time to learn a new language.
Right. Again, we're definitely not saying that you shouldn't try to
Mm-hmm.
learn and try to assimilate. But again, some areas are going to make it easier for you to
Right.
assimilate.
True.
Right. So these are things to consider. Let us know what you think. Would
Yeah.
you ever move there part-time, permanently? Do you have some ideas down the road what you're looking into or areas that you're looking into? We love to hear from y'all.
Yeah, that's great. I'm very interested. I think a lot of our viewers are still back in the U.S. thinking about moving there. So what's your idea? What's your plan?
Yeah. And what's holding you back? I think
What's
that's-
holding you back? Some people talk about the move, and they never
do.
moved.
So we love to
That's
hear
true.
what's holding you back or some areas you like to move to. Part-time, permanently. Let us know what you think, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.